Okay, so I am recording this class tonight because I feel like we're going to have some really good, useful information. And when I have a link ready, I will be more than happy to share that link for anybody who would like to use it for future reference, or you can share it with other people as well. I'm going to go ahead and mute. Stephanie, your house is quiet. Okay, so for those that don't know me or people that listen to the replay, my name is Jennifer Davis, and I have been teaching these essential oil classes now for, gosh, has it been 9 years? I think so. Kathy, I think you have been teaching about as long as I have. And so Kathy's joining us this evening. She's kind of a counterpart. I got Kimberly on and Stephanie. And so these ladies might chime in and offer their expertise as we go along. But the purpose of tonight is just kind of get everybody back to center, back to where we all began, and let you ask questions as we go along. Lately, I have been extremely passionate about developing healthy habits. And in my own life in the last couple of years, really focusing on having very consistent healthy habits has been amazing in healing and just the way I approach the world in general. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that this evening. But first, I kind of want to dive into something that may feel a little, not so new to some of you, but for some, it may be a good refresher or it may be all new information. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is just some basics of essential oils. And then I'm going to talk about 5 essential oils that I believe everybody should use every day. But I am kind of curious, can I get a show of hands? Is everybody using their oils every day? And are you using the same ones? Pretty much. Okay. So I believe that if you have your favorite essential oils that you use every day, keep doing that, but you may learn something from the 5 that I'm going to talk about that may make you go, I should probably start using that one. So the first thing I want to talk about are 3 things about essential oils that you need to know. Of course, there's a lot more than that, but let's just focus on 3 right now. So the first one is that they are safe. Okay. And I think everybody who's probably watching us live right now knows that they have been using safe essential oils with doTERRA. So please, if you're listening to this class and you're using a different brand of essential oils, don't take the information that I'm teaching you and apply it to those essential oils. And that's just because in the world of essential oils, just like so many other products that we consume that are super popular, they are usually not as authentic as we want them to be. I'm sure we run into that at the grocery store. I don't know, like simple things like juice, for example, doesn't come fresh from the fruit because they wouldn't be able to get it to us without it spoiling. So if they do all these things to it, so it lasts longer and it will make it to the shelf and it won't hurt us, like pasteurization and everything. So that's just an example of how something that's supposed to be good for us, by the time it makes it to us, it's not as good as it could have been. So essential oils are kind of the same thing. The only thing that I do want to point out is essential oils can go cellular. So this is my next point. They are effective. They're more effective than most other natural remedies because they can go cellular. And so basically what that means is that when you put an essential oil into your body system, whether it's putting it on your skin or putting it in water or smelling it, those essential oil molecules are small enough and powerful enough to make it into the cells and to interact with the cellular structure to do all kinds of cool things. And what's really cool is that different essential oil molecules are attracted to different parts of the cells in different parts of the body. So some essential oils are more attracted to the cells that hang out in the tissues of the lungs and the respiratory system, or maybe the digestive system. Some are more attracted to the nervous system, or maybe some are more attracted to the muscles or even the bones. And so that seems a little overwhelming. You don't need to remember that. You just have to know that when you use them, the essential oils are intelligent. Your body is intelligent. It knows what to do. Just like drinking water. When we drink water, it's not like we tell our body like, oh, I'm going to drink this water because I want to make sure that, such and such is healthier. Like I hear that drinking more water is better for my hair or my skin. Well, your body is going to decide how it's going to use it. And chances are, which is one of the things I plan to talk about tonight, drinking water, we don't usually get enough. So our bodies are probably already dehydrated. And so our body is going to use that water for our blood and our most important body systems. So that's effective. Does anybody have anything to add, Kimberly, Kathy, Stephanie, to essential oils being effective?
I don't really have anything to add, but I mean, just on your own, you see how effective they are once you start using everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're more, what's the word? Oh, I lost the word. That immediate. You get more immediate responses. Normally, if you use some homeopathic type things, it might take your body a while to adjust to it, but oils can be immediately effective.
Yeah. So I sit at this desk a lot and I find that I get really uncomfortable back here between the whole shoulders. So I actually have my deep blue rub and I just apply that and it's like instant relief.
Yeah.
As where if I were to go into my bathroom and, well, I don't have these things in my bathroom, but if I were to go in my bathroom and go find a pain reliever type medication, it's going to take maybe 30 minutes if it's going to work. So again, it just comes down to the fact that your body decides how to use something. So you never know how it's going to impact you. And then not to mention, let's talk about the third point is that they're safe. So there's always risks when it comes to over-the-counter medication. I'm sure everybody has experienced a side effect, right? Some side effects can be really, really dangerous. And we want to just be really careful. And sometimes there's things like, I have to laugh. I had to get a prescription. Haven't had one for years, but I had to get a prescription recently. And it was one of those things. It was actually not for me, but for my son, from an injury that he had. And we needed something for infection. And I was using a lot of essential oils. And what was really, so I'm kind of going sidebar here. What was really interesting is that with the use of the over-the-counter, well, it wasn't over-the-counter prescription, and the essential oils, we had a much quicker turnaround. So normally an antibiotic, we start to notice the body taking hold of that within about 24 hours. With him, it was like 6. We were already seeing a decrease in the different symptoms from what happened. And it was a cat attacked him. I think Kathy, you might have seen that because it happened during Hanukkah weekend that Kathy was here. And that poor kid, he was feeling pretty awful, but the next morning he woke up between the essential oils and the medication, he made a turn. So I never want to say that you shouldn't use medication. I feel like there's a time and a place for that. But I also think that a couple of things, essential oils can help our medications work better, but they can also maybe be the thing that helps us get by until we get access to whatever Western medicine has to offer for us. So hopefully that makes sense. So the 3 things that I wanted you to know about essential oils is that they are effective, they're safe, and did I cover all 3? I feel like I'm missing one. How about this one? Did you guys know that they were less expensive than other things that you could be doing? And let me put it really simply. So this bottle of peppermint in here helps to support so many things in my body. This is one of my top 5 essential oils, so I'm not going to give away any teasers here, but this one can support almost every single body system in the body in so many different ways. 1 drop of this essential oil, which is peppermint, is only 8 cents. And how many drops are in a bottle? 250 drops of essential oil in a bottle. And this bottle of essential oil is $20. Now, I use a lot of peppermint. I crave it. Just like some people are always popping mints, I'm always popping a drop of essential oil throughout the day. And this bottle will last me sometimes about 3 months or maybe 6 months. So there's a lot of essential oil in there. And I'm telling you, if I were to buy a little case of mints or gum, it'd be gone in a week. So this will last a lot longer. So that's why they're a little bit cheaper. And it's kind of funny because people don't usually believe me, but there's a couple of things that happen when you use essential oils. You have less sick days, so you don't miss work. Or if you do have something going on and you don't feel so good, usually your essential oils make it so you can get by and still do the things that you need to do. So it doesn't feel like it's such a disruption in your day or in your life. And that goes for the kids as well, when you're using essential oils on them. So they are safer, cheaper, and more effective. Does anybody have any questions about that? Or anything they want to add? Gosh, you're an easy crowd. Maybe one of these, I'll tell a joke eventually. Maybe that'll get you all laughing and talking. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the 3 ways to use them. And I could literally go like for an hour just talking about the 3 ways that you use your essential oils, but I'm just gonna like touch it because there's something else that we really want to make sure people do that I'm going to talk about here in a second. So I keep tipping you guys off to things I'm going to talk about here in a second. So one way that you can use them is aromatically. I have diffusers all over my house. I probably have a problem and I probably need to go to like a meeting for this. But anyways, I have diffusers all over the place. I told you I was going to tell a little joke. And I like to diffuse. Right now, Holiday Joy, hands down, is my favorite essential oil to diffuse when the weather is cold, which is a lot like On Guard. It's got some cinnamon and some other warmer weather or colder weather smells. So I've got diffusers everywhere in the house. And in my bedroom, I actually have 2 diffusers running in at night. One's got sleep oils in it, and one has like breathing respiratory support oils in it. So you can tell I definitely have a problem there. But the thing is, I feel really good all the time. I'm usually very happy and stress-free, and we stay very healthy. So that's breathing them in. And when we breathe in an essential oil, so I'm gonna go a little sciencey on you guys. Is that okay? Those molecules go through, I'm not gonna explain the whole process, but we breathe them in and they hit these nerves up in our sinus cavity. And those nerves, they're like little fingers, and they take those molecules up into, the brain, the limbic system. And so what's really interesting, and I hope I can explain this right, it was something that I heard in a talk and I was like, that is so interesting. And I had no pen to take notes. So I've had to like commit it to memory. So, but what he talked about is, as far as genetics go, in our brain, we've got all these genetics going on in our brain that are directly connected to different parts of our body. So for example, our heart, there's some genetics there, and there's a connection between the brain and the heart. So when those essential oils hit that particular way that our brain functions, it's going to impact the different parts of the body. So if I wanted to use, let's say, I'm trying to think of a good one. Let's say if I wanted to use an essential oil for respiratory support and I wanted to breathe it in, well, we can tell that it impacts that part of our body as well, but it's also going to impact this. So if your skin is more sensitive and you feel like you don't, find that you enjoy essential oils topically as much, just know that you're still getting a lot of really good benefit by breathing them in. So breathing them in can look like putting it in a bottle and breathing it in. Actually, that's the cheapest way to use your essential oils because you're not using any of them up when you do that. Another way is in a diffuser. That's going to actually activate those molecules and get them going. Which I should say, essential oils are volatile aromatic compounds, which that's not a scary thing. It just means that they move and they're excited. And so when you open it up, they're moving. That's why you can smell them out of the bottle. So then we have our diffuser. And then the other thing we can do is put them in our hands, rub it together, get that heat exchange going, and then breathe it in. And that's actually a dual purpose because it brings me to my next point. Once you have them on your hands, you can use them on your body. So if I want to breathe in peppermint, and exercise is a good thing. You guys know why I don't like to do any cardio? I don't like breathing that hard. I hate it. It makes me,
because you didn't want to sweat.
Oh, I don't sweat anyways. No, but I don't like breathing that hard. So I find that I'll do the peppermint because it makes everything feel a little bit more comfortable. But when that's, or not peppermint, but breathe. And then I put it on my chest, what's left on my hand. So I'm getting dual purpose, one drop for two different things. And so it's not as uncomfortable for me when I need to do cardio, like I'm chasing Sam because he's ran away from me in the house. So that's what I mean by dual purpose. And so then the next way that we can use them is topical. So I use a lot of essential oils topically without diluting them, but that's because I kind of know what I can handle, and I have really tough skin. So I like to use them that way. However, some oils are strong, or some people prefer to dilute them, but there's also a good reason for diluting them, because if we're trying to use essential oils so they last a long time, we want to use some fractionated coconut oil, and that's going to slow down the absorption. It's going to prevent the essential oils from evaporating off the skin as well, because essential oils have lipids, that's the fats, and it has alcohols. So imagine, like, you know, rubbing alcohol, like that evaporates really quickly. Alcohol evaporates really quickly. And so the essential oils can do that as well. So you might notice if you're using, let's say, peppermint on the back of your neck to cool you off, you might notice about 30 minutes later, maybe 45 minutes later, it doesn't feel as cool. Your body has taken it in and some of it is evaporated off. So putting some coconut oil on it will hold that in place. It'll slow down the absorption so it's more comfortable, but it'll also help it last longer. So if you've got some sort of pain or discomfort in your body, like I talked about how sometimes my shoulders start to hurt back here, I'll use my Deep Blue, which is an oil for helping with that kind of discomfort and that tension. But I can add some coconut oil and help it slow down. And also, because I get cold really easily, it helps it not feel so cold for me. So then the next way we can use essential oils is internally. A lot of people get really nervous here, but I promise it doesn't have to be that hard or that uncomfortable or scary. So one of the ways that we use essential oils is by putting it in our water. So let me give you a tip. You're going to want to use water that's more room temperature. You'll notice this if you ever have thank you, Kimberly. If you ever have an essential oil that you add to ice water, you'll notice that essential oil is a little ball, just kind of sitting there on the surface of your water. So essential oils, they're alive. They're like us. And when we're cold, what do? We do this, we constrict. But when we're warm, we're just like, oh, we're just so relaxed. And essential oils then do that. So if you put an essential oil in a warmer water, you'll notice it just kind of like looks like a little oil slick across the surface of the water. So that's one way you can do it. I like to use my citrus oils that way, or Digest Zen. Does anybody use Digest Zen in their water and just kind of sip on it?
Not unless I have an upset stomach.
Not unless you have an upset stomach. I do it, sidebar, because it's really good for all digestive, including bloating. And after you eat, sometimes you get that little food baby. I've had an ice cream baby every night this week. So I've been definitely sipping on the Digest Zen during the day. So anyways, the other way that I use it is in a shot glass. This is actually how I take lavender, lemon, and peppermint every day. And I put 2 drops each in a shot glass and I drink it because I'm in a new city. I'm in a new environment, totally different things floating around in the air, and I get sneezy and congested really easily because of it. So I use those 3 oils. So you can write that down. Those 3 oils are really good for those things. And I put them in a shot glass. And then, so we have water, we have capsules. So who takes their essential oils in a little, does anybody get the soft gels? You can get all kinds of oils and soft gels, On Guard, peppermint. You can get some citrus oils made into a blend called Slim and Sassy, which is great for sugar cravings and other emotional food cravings. And let's see, we have Digest Zen, we have Copaiba. Serenity, which has lavender oil in it, not serenity oil, just so you know. And turmeric, like there's a bunch out there. And I love that they've done that because they've taken a lot of time to like formulate those. So I actually prefer, if I'm going to say I use most of my oils that way, I do. I've got all my bottles of all those essential oils just lined up in my bathroom. And I just take them. So anyways, So that's the other way that you can use your essential oils. So now I want to kind of throw a little curveball in there for you guys. And I want to talk about 3 other things that I've never talked about in a class before. So I want to talk about the 3 tips or hacks that I was thinking on that would make it easier for us to remember to use our essential oils. So the first one is put your essential oil where you're more likely to use it. So if I'm going to put essential oils in my water, I have a bottle of orange actually sitting on top of my Berkey. And that's where I remember I'll get my water and then I drop the orange in it. And that's what I do. I have essential oils in my kitchen. My one oil that has to be in my kitchen is lavender. Do you guys know why?
Burns.
Yes. You know how many times one of my kids accidentally touched, and my stove gets hot when you're cooking, but like they'll get something out with they'll use a hot pad and they'll get something out and like just barely touch the side of the whatever. So that's why I do that one.
I keep them wherever I use them in the house. I have them all over the house.
Yep.
And I keep my citrus oils grouped together for water.
Yeah. So, and then I have over there, because my littlest sleeps with me over there, he has his diffuser, and in his diffuser goes Serenity and Orange. And so that's sitting over there. And then my girls, they diffuse Adaptive. That's what helps them sleep, because one of them is a little active at night and she has a really hard time settling, holding still, and get her brain to stop working. So she has Adaptive in there. We keep Digest Zen by every toilet in the house, so 2 toilets. So every toilet in the house has Digest Zen sitting by it. And then I have Clary Calm, which is for women and our crazy hormones. I keep that by the toilet because I always rub it across under the belly button a few times a day. So that's how I have made essential oils really easy for me to use. What are some ways, like, do you guys have any things that you do that's a little bit different than what we talked about that helps you remember to use your essential oils?
I keep Serenity capsules and Adaptive capsules in the bathroom so that I take them after I'm done brushing my teeth so that I'm ready for bed.
Yep. I keep a lot of oils in the bathroom. I should probably keep every oil in the bathroom.
I keep Terrazyme on the kitchen table so that I take it with every meal.
Terrazyme is a food enzyme, digestive enzyme. Very cool. Okay, so number 2 tip hack that I have to help me make it easier is consult with the person that helped you get the oils into your home. Keep us saved in your phone, Facebook Messenger, but take the time to let them get on the phone or come visit you in home and sit down and show you how to use them. Because you're more likely to use something that you feel more comfortable with. And that's our job, is to help you feel comfortable with them. So you don't have these bottles of oil sitting around going, I don't really know what to do with this. And so you just open it up and you just smell all the smells, right? But then you put them back and then they're sitting there. So we are here to help you use the thing that you spent your money on to make sure that it's helping you with all the things. And then the third way to help you have an easier time using your essential oils is to create blends for diffusing. So one of the things that I do when I use up a bottle of essential oil, so this is peppermint, so it's got maybe 3 drops left in the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll add some peppermint, some orange, maybe, I don't know, usually it's peppermint and orange when I'm doing that one. And then I won't fill it up too full, but then I've got a pre-made blend that I can go ahead and pop in my diffuser, so I don't have to go tracking down multiple bottles of oils. So some of these blends are really, really cool, and we can have a lot of fun with them. And so we want to make it super easy so you don't have to track down. I have a blend that I do that smells like fresh baked cinnamon rolls, and it requires 6 bottles of oil. And so I actually have that blend made in an actual bottle ready to go. So I don't have to go tracking those oils down. And then also for topical usage, you can go ahead and pre-make your roller bottles, which, does anybody have a roller bottle they can throw up in front of the camera so we can show? There we go. Kimberly's got one. So she can see you have the stickers on there that's labeling what's in that for her. And some people will take a little pen and they'll write the number on that little sticker, so you know how many drops of each one goes in there. So that way you don't have to like look it up every time. Because I don't know about you, if I have to go look for something, I'm more likely not going to do it. So, and that's the other thing is when we come and do our consults with you, when you first get your essential oils, or if time goes by and you haven't had one for a while, then we'll show you how to do that stuff. I know a lot of us keep empty roller bottles on hand in case we need to make something for you, especially like, you know, hyper kids that need like a settle down oil. We help you make blends like that. So, or sleep blends. Okay, so those are my 3 little tips and hacks to help it make it easier for you to use your essential oils. So now I want to talk about the top 5 essential oils that I recommend everybody use. So we already talked about peppermint. Number 1 is peppermint. So what I do every day, and it's actually on my desk, but instead of my nightstand like I used to, the first thing that I do is I take just my finger. So I just get a little essential oil on it, go like that. And then I drink a full glass of water. So the water's all the way up here. I drink the whole thing. That's the first thing I do when I get up in the morning. So I just created by doing that, and it just takes like 30 seconds to do. By doing that, I've created 2 new daily habits for myself that are really, really good for me. Our body needs water, and the peppermint helps our body systems wake up. It kicks our digestive system on. So that way, when we eat, our body is working, our function, our metabolism is running really well. It can help with, you know, if you get sluggish in the morning or you have a hard time getting going in the morning, it all helps with that. So that's what I really like about that one. But the number 1 reason why I use peppermint like that, helps me breathe clearly again, because I get really stuffed up at night when I'm sleeping. So it helps kind of clear everything out, brings mental clarity in as well. And so then the next thing that I do, because I just mentioned clarity, mental clarity, is I take my frankincense and I save myself a ton of money by just breathing it out of my bottle. So I just take really deep breaths. I like to do a devotion in the morning. That's kind of my thing. It takes like 5 minutes. And so I'll kind of breathe that in and then I'll do my devotion. But the other thing that I do with frankincense, because it is so good for, it supports a healthy inflammatory response in the body. So if you have chronic discomfort, like in your joints or something, or any other part of your body, then the frankincense is going to be really helpful. You can put it in a capsule. You can put it on the bottoms of your feet. Stephanie, I thought maybe this might be a good one to chime in. How do you use frankincense?
Well, we use it for a couple things. We'll put it on the roof of our mouth for headaches. And Rodney uses it every day for, you know, he had a brain injury. So he uses it every day on the roof of his mouth or either under his tongue to help support his brain.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so frankincense has something in it called sesquiterpenes. It's a really, really tiny molecule. So our brain is like it's got a blood-brain barrier. So it's like a barrier. Imagine like a netting, like it's a netting, but the weave is really tight. So see how tight that is? Like that's the weave. It's really, really tight. So things can't get through, including most medication. This is why we don't have medication that's super successful for certain brain conditions. So it's because of that right there. So what frankincense can do, it's got little tiny molecules, and they're like, they can break in, they have the key, they can unlock and kind of slip in there undetected, and they can serve the brain in really, really amazing ways. So that's why we use that. You can use it sublingually under the tongue. If you flip your tongue up you can see all those thick blood vessels there. Roof of the mouth is another thing. You mentioned head discomfort. So I like to take frankincense and press it in the roof of my mouth and do some peppermint as well, and then apply it around the hairline and kind of heavy on the neck area. So frankincense is also really good. So we mentioned brain, it's good for the inflammatory response. And it's really good for mood as well. But the other thing that I didn't realize frankincense is really good at, and this is actually what we use it for the most, is it helps to thin congestion. out. So the way that I use it every day is I just put a little bit on my finger and on my thumb and just put it right here. Have you ever tried to put peppermint right there to kind of clear the sinuses? You're not going to have your eyes open for a good 30 minutes after that. Not to mention if you accidentally do it while you're driving. Totally done that. And that's because essential oils, they have that vapor because the menthol and the peppermint and those molecules are actively moving off of the skin. But also those essential oils, they go into the skin and they move in and out of tissue. So you can put an essential oil far from something, but then feel the effects of it somewhere else. So that's what I do with frankincense because it helps to thin. What I love about that is the frankincense doesn't make my eyes feel anything. Like I can smell it, but I don't feel a sensation. And then my kids have come to learn that they can do that too. So they're always putting the frankincense when their noses are a little stuffy. So that's the other thing. And then frankincense is really good for the skin. So that's another thing that people like to use that for. I know we all have probably a really cool testimony about applying frankincense to something on our skin that we don't like, and then eventually it falls off, right? Yeah, so that's the other thing that's really cool about frankincense. So those are 2 oils. So the next one that I use is wild orange. Has anybody ever put a drop of wild orange and a drop of peppermint, rubbed them together and put them on the bottoms of your feet? Try doing that. It'll put a skip in your step. I promise you. I remember the first time I did it, I was driving in the car and I was just like, why am I so giddy? It's like I was going to do something really cool, which I wasn't. And I was just like so excited and I couldn't figure out why. And then I was like, is this the oils? I've never experienced this before. So I really, really like those. So if you're somebody who has a low mood or you struggle like this time of year for that like seasonal low mood, then use those 2 oils and diffuse them. Add frankincense to it. It makes it extra fun. But wild orange is very uplifting. All citrus oils, in one way or another, support the immune system and other body functions because they help encourage our cells to make their own glutathione. So if you're ever curious, Google glutathione, and don't worry, Google will spell it right for you if you don't do it. And read up on that. So if you use your essential oils, your citruses, your lemons, your oranges every day, your body is going to get that extra edge in the immune system specifically. So definitely do that. And then citrus oils also help to thin congestion as well. So when we put it in our water, it's helping to balance out the mucus in our body. And everyone gets a little nervous when we talk about essential oils and mucous membranes. But there's some really cool research out there that shows that our mucous membranes actually really like essential oils as long as we use them appropriately and not overuse them. And our mucous membranes help to pull those essential oils through the digestive system. I can hear children not getting along on the other side of the door. Okay, does anybody have anything to add to the citrus oils? Which citrus oil is your favorite?
I have something, Jennifer. I don't think you covered it. I always put them in glass, never in plastic. Did you do that?
Why do it like that? Why can't I put it in plastic?
Because it's going to take those little plastic particles that we detest and eventually get it in our system. We don't want that. It breaks it down.
Sorry, I muted myself. So I totally made the mistake. Has anybody ever, I've done this, I don't know how many times, put a glass of water together and I put a plastic straw in it.
I don't
was
use
like,
plastic straws.
What's wrong? Well, it was a like a silicone, like it was like a it was a washable plastic straw. Anyways, because it's in all my kids' sippy cups. So I was like, here, let me use it. But yeah, I've had that happen before. If you're ever a little curious, grab yourself some styrofoam. If you've got like a little coffee cup or something like that and drop some essential oils on it, it's kind of cool. If you get a styrofoam plate and you drop, excuse me, different essential oils on it, you'll see how they break down that styrofoam differently. The difference between like oregano and orange or peppermint and lavender, it's kind of cool. So yeah, no, great tip. I didn't even think about talking about that. So the next oil I want to talk about is lavender. So as you can tell, I'm talking about really basic essential oils. A few years ago, I listened to a really good talk from a lady. Her name is Jessie Hawkins. I don't know if anybody remembers her, but she runs like I don't remember what she calls it, like School of Vintage Remedies or something. Anyway, she talked about what causes antibiotic resistance. And she even talked about how essential oils can do that if we use too many potent, strong essential oils all the time. So everyone thinks, I got to stay healthy. I'm going to use oregano every single day. Well, you don't need to do that. All we need to do is put good, healthy things in our systems. We want to make sure we're eating very little sugar, we're drinking plenty of water, getting sunshine, moving our bodies, and using our everyday essential oils. So lavender is a really good essential oil at helping us stay healthy, because what is like, I'm not going to say it's the number one, but for the sake of this class, what's the number one root cause to disease and other illnesses?
Inflammation.
What causes inflammation? It starts with an S.
Sugar.
No.
Skin,
I give up.
What did you say? Was that Michelle?
skin,
Nope.
Stress.
Yay, you win a gold star for you, Deborah. Okay, so stress is like a really big deal. And I'm not going to tell the story, but I'm just going to say stress sent my mom to the hospital with what we thought was a stroke. And I'm over here thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to have to find like care for her? Like, how is this going to work? But within about 24 hours, she's getting her wits of her again. And within about 3 weeks, like, she was able to go back to work and kind of do things. But stress did that to her. Stress is like the number one cause for like most ER visits. When people come in with chest pain, or I say the stroke-like symptoms are really common, but that's actually most likely an anxiety or panic attack for many people. So those things are really uncomfortable for you. So I'm always about lavender. Use the lavender. Lavender doesn't help de-stress me in the moment. I need other things, which that's my fifth oil I'm going to talk about. But what I love about lavender is it's really high in linalool. Have you guys heard of that word? It sounds like a nice warm fuzzy blanket, doesn't it? Let's just say that it is. It's a nice warm fuzzy blanket for your cells. Linalool is the ingredient that helps your body like respond to stress in a healthy way. It helps to support a healthy balance with cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So our cortisol, so I keep saying, like, I really love, so I have my essential oils business, but then I also have another job where I manage a spa. And everyone's like, oh, that's got to be the most relaxing Zen job ever. No, it is not. It is so stressful because I'm managing all these moving parts of this business, but I love it. It's exciting stress for me. It's like I get to do these really cool things and work with these really cool people. And I get so excited. And so my body is stressed out because of that. You know, if someone calls you up and says, hey, just want to let you know that lottery ticket you bought yesterday was $10 million. That's going to shoot that cortisol up just as if you were walking in the woods and came face to face with a bear. So anyways, that's what cortisol does for you. So lavender is super supportive. There are other essential oils that are as well, but lavender is hands down probably going to be the best one. So I always tell people, use it some way, somehow, every single day. So you heard how I start my day, lavender in the shot glass with lemon and peppermint, because I'm helping my, histamine response to the environment is also supporting my ability to manage stress healthier. And so that's my next thing is how many people get the itchy eyes, the runny nose from like things in the air at different times of the year? Or maybe you go to visit somebody and they have a lot of cats, those types of things. Using your lavender will help your body respond to histamine in the way it's supposed to. So you get a bug bite and it's really itchy. Lavender oil feels really good on that. I always like to use peppermint too, because it just really feels better. So that's why lavender every single day. Also, lavender is a natural like pain reliever. So really, really mild. I found that it's like my favorite essential oil for my kids, like stub toes or pinch fingers or get owies or wipe. My driveway is a hill now. All of my kids have lost skin on their body from this hill. So we don't put the essential oil directly on it because they're going to freak out and have an out of body experience. But because they think it's going to hurt, you know how kids are. So what I do, I had one of the kids was just covered. It was just awful looking. I put like a ring of lavender around it. And because the essential oils moved through the tissues, it went down. And within 15 minutes, the pain was cut drastically for the child. So anyways, they've learned essential oils are so, so helpful. So those are my 5 essential oils. So do you guys remember what they were?
Peppermint, wild orange, lavender, frankincense. What's the other one?
You caught me. I haven't said the other one yet.
Aha.
So the next one would be an essential oil that would be good for your nervous system. So for me, it's balance. Love balance. Other essential oil choices would be serenity or adaptive. Those are kind of the main ones. Does anybody have another one that they like? This is like when you're feeling really irritable.
Whisper's
Whisper.
good for, yeah, calming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I like balance because it takes my irritability down to, I can handle this. I don't need to yell at my kids. That's what it does for me. It also helps my 4-year-old. I have a video of him having a meltdown. And then another video, a couple minutes later, I think I did a Facebook Live. I went like live the first time and live the second time in like a 2-minute break in between. Anyways, how balance just helped him get it together. What it does is, and these essential oils do this, is they kind of like sort the brain. They help collect the brain back. So it's kind of like, imagine you're walking around with a heavy suitcase with all of your like underwear or something in it, and the suitcase pops open and you're like, trying to grab it all up and it's all falling around. Like that's what your brain is doing when you're stressed out. It's like your luggage that lost its underwear on the floor in front of everybody. So good analogy, right, Kim? So that's what your brain is doing. It's trying to collect itself, but it can't. It needs the tools to do it. So a lot of people will do breathing exercises or anchoring techniques, which is like basically where you get something and you kind of like hold on to it. I'm telling you, using balance is so much faster. I have to laugh because working in a wellness center, like meditation is really popular and breath work. And one of my folks was really stressed out. It took her 30 minutes of breath work to get herself together. And I'm over here like, let me give you some balance. She was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I need some of this. I'm like, yeah, thank you. You're welcome. So anyways, so those are the ones that you can do. Serenity is really good for sleeping, kind of like getting yourself wound back down for rest. Balance is my favorite one to use during the day when there's a lot going on. A really common time for me is like when I'm done with work, I work from home and I step out that door and like the house is a mess. I need to cook dinner and the kids are fighting. So I go around, I get my balance and I just kind of put it on all of their necks or just put it somewhere on them. And then I'm like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. And it's been a lot better for us. And they're so much more compliant when you're not yelling at them. So that's what I do. And then the other one is adaptive. So this is my favorite essential oil for when you have some sort of like either self-diagnosed or maybe doctor, therapist diagnosed type of mental issue. I'm just going to say issue because I think we all have mental issues sometimes. But anytime that you are like identifying with some sort of mental health issue, adaptive is my favorite. So I was going through serious trauma about 2.5, 3 years ago. And my brain was just not working. I could read something and just not collect the information and know how to apply it. We call that trauma brain or brain fog even. And the adaptive capsules really, really helped me with that because those essential oils are formulated to support the nervous system and the brain. So that's why I use them. So those are the top 5 essential oils. Deborah, you did a good job naming the first 4, but I want the 5th one to be one that you like. And so if you ever want to send me a message and say, Jennifer, I've been using such and such oil, and it's really, really helping me to feel grounded and feel collected and to feel like I got my life together. All right. So the last thing that I want to talk about is why do we need to use them daily? So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't need to use them. Or they think that, I'm just gonna be really honest, they think maybe I'm trying to get them to spend more money on their essential oils. When in reality, I've realized that when I use them the way that I use them every day, I'm actually saving money because I'm not having to use a ton of it and douse myself in it when I'm actually having a problem. I'm in constant preventative self-care mode, so I'm only having to use a little bit at a time. So I'm actually saving more money that way. But the reason why we need to use them daily is because we start to experience basically a different level of healing. And so the first one is basically our physical health. We start to notice things about our physical health that are improving. Maybe you have less pain, you have less stress, you notice you're sleeping better, or maybe that skin condition that you were dealing with is gone, stuff like that. So that's our healing for our physical body. And then over time, we start to notice that we have some assistance in the healing of our heart. So not just our physical heart, but our emotional heart as well. So I love that essential oils can support us emotionally, which is why sometimes I like to use them over my heart, and it just kind of gives me more peace. And then the next thing is over time, we start to notice that our limiting beliefs start to kind of not feel so limiting anymore. I'm sure we all have limiting beliefs about us. You look at yourself in the mirror and you just don't think that you're, something that you want to be, or maybe there's something that you want to do, but you don't think that you can do it, like stuff like that. So the essential oils help with that, especially wild orange. Wild orange is the essential oil that helps with scarcity mindset. So I like to use that one every day. And then essential oils start to increase spiritual awareness and connection. I don't know if it's just because I've been so good at doing this, but like my prayer life has been so much better. The time that I feel connected to, the creator, like that has really, really helped me feel more connected and feel like I'm just doing the right things in my life now. So that's the other thing. And then the last one is to feel inspired for our life's purpose. Have you guys thought about the purpose for your life? I don't know that many people think about that. Like, why are you on this planet? And so you start to think like that. And there is something to be said for when you start to walk in your own purpose, every day just feels so amazing. And you don't walk through life feeling like you're just kind of walking through life. So you kind of have that direction. So that's why I like to use essential oils every single day, because you just start to reach those different levels of healing. And my favorite, when it talks about limiting beliefs, is helping to develop my own self-worth. So being willing to like try new things and try challenges and, maybe go to that gym. Like I'm going to be trying Orange Theory out for the first time next week. You know how scary that is? I'll probably get there and be like, oh, everyone's just like me, but I'm kind of afraid because Orange Theory is really intimidating, but I'm going to give it a try. So that's kind of like what they do. The other thing I will say that they do for me, I want to tell this quick story and then I'll get us off here in a minute. I wanted to get essential oils into a hospital in Kansas City. And so I was really afraid of that because it's like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, not a medical professional. I mean, what do I have to offer these people? But I did it and I did it afraid, and it developing really amazing relationships with the ladies that are in charge of the programming that would like they're the decision makers for that. And it was right before businesses were shutting down and people were social distancing. But I had this moment of total bravery, and I got the results and the outcome that I wanted because I believed that I deserved it and that it was going to help a bunch of other people. So that's why I did it. And it really, really helps. And I really think the essential oils doing that, because essential oils are like a gateway to wellness, and they're going to cause you to do other things that are really good for your health. I've taught a lot of people who have never even thought about how sugar is harmful for them, or how they should drink more water, or maybe they should try going to a chiropractor instead of taking pain medication all the time. It's a door. It definitely opens you up to new things. How many people here have explored other wellness modalities because they started using essential oils? I know Kimberly has.
I had already started. I have a long history of that. So
Yeah. There's a Jennifer on here. I saw that and I was like, I'm not typing. Who is that?
What was the question?
Did essential oils cause you to get curious about other natural health modalities? I know for me, I didn't start wanting to like really be good about nutrition until, oh, hi, Jennifer. I know who you are. Thanks for the last name reminder. I didn't start getting really curious about nutrition and how nutrition supports different parts of my body until I started using essential oils. So, and actually it was people like me, other educators, that like tipped me off to some of that. So, perfect. So that,
Sorry.
go ahead.
We're a family of 6 and we haven't had Tylenol for 2 years since I was introduced to essential oils. And that's the majority of the thing we're usually given is Tylenol, and we've never ever taken Tylenol since.
Very cool.
My 2 daughters had major ATV accident about 2 months ago, and I almost lost one of them. But
Oh my
she
goodness.
survived, and she has broken arm.
Wow. I'm glad that she's okay.
That was kind of traumatic. She scraped her face and had a cut, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I think I'll be using more of the balance because I've been using balance a lot, but I was thinking to start taking the adaptive capsules. I just didn't know how to use them.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. When I started using them, I got really tired. It was almost like it was telling my body it's okay to rest. Because I think when you're going through trauma, you're just like this all the time. And adaptive just made me kind of go like this. And I just remember like going to bed earlier, sleeping all night, and just feeling like I needed a nap. And that took about 2 weeks for my body to kind of like shift into, okay, I feel rested now. But I think when you go through trauma, like your body needs that rest. And I feel like adaptive does a really good job at facilitating that. And then I have other people that didn't experience that at all. So sometimes you need to take the adaptive capsules closer to bedtime. I took them in the morning. I felt like they worked better for my brain fog for me. So that's what I did. And I just kind of pushed through that exhaustion for those couple of weeks. But I used adaptive capsules specifically for grief. It really, really helped me get through some really grieving moments. So I don't use it every day now, but it definitely helped me for the season I needed it. And the other thing I did want to say, and I didn't mention it, like the daily uses of essential oils and then the daily practice of healthy habits over time, like you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this. It feels, like you just don't have the motivation to do it, or it feels like a hassle, or you're just thinking, why am I doing this? But if you stick with it, it takes 21 days to form a new habit, but it takes 3 months for your habits to actually stick and about 6 months for those habits to change your behaviors. But what's really cool is that when you do those things, it starts to take a shift in the way that you think. because your brain is wired a certain way based on life experiences. And so when you start to do things that are good for you, it starts to work the process of the rewiring so that the brain can heal in ways that maybe it wasn't. And so that you feel like you can actually move forward on things that you didn't think you could previously do. So that's really important to incorporate daily habits. Something that some of us ladies were talking about on another call is what is some really simple way that we can just maybe one thing a day that we do differently that's good for us. And so some people, it's like making sure they drink the amount of water that they're supposed to. Or I know Kathy, yours was to get outside intentionally every single day for a period of time. For me, my non-negotiable is journaling before I go to bed. And that's really helped me, feel like I'm more of a whole person. So those things are really important. And I wanted to make sure that I touched on that. So, all right.
So
So
we
does
don't get, sorry,
go ahead.
we don't get resistant to essential oils, right?
Oh, I see what you're asking. Do you get like where they stop working?
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that. I know for some people they need something different at different times. So like I have noticed that depends on the type of pain that I have. Sometimes I need like one thing that worked previously doesn't work the second time as effectively. Sleep is the same thing, or focus. Everyone thinks Intune is great for focus. It is great, but sometimes I need something different depending on what I'm trying to focus on. So if you
Okay,
feel
thank
like,
you.
yeah, if you ever feel like what you were doing isn't working the way it used to, that's where you just got to get creative and become your own essential oil expert. And
Okay.
ask.
The one, sorry, the one I use daily is On Guard lemon tea tree in the same glass to clear my throat, or if I catch a cold. That's what
Okay.
I drink every day, even if I don't have cold.
Okay. Sounds good. And I love that you do that. On Guard, it's a little bit more of a stronger oil, but because it's diluted with other ones, it's not a one bullet wonder. It's like a mixture of like so much more. And On Guard is actually really good at balancing blood sugar.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I'm going to stop the recording and then I'm going to stay on for a few more minutes if anybody has any questions.
Thank you. It was great.